Hey guys, welcome to this session on MSBI. So MSBI is basically a powerful suite of tools which provide solutions for business intelligence. So MSBI comprises of three tools: SQL Server Integration Services, SQL Server Analytical Services, and SQL Server Reporting Services. So in today's session, we'll learn how to deliver the right information to the right users using SSRS. So let us have a quick glance at the agenda. We'll start off with learning how to install and run SSRS. After that, we'll learn how to create our first SSRS project and generate a report. Furthermore, we'll look into the SSRS architecture. After that, we'll see the different types of reports which can be created in SSRS. After that, we'll learn the drill down and drill through operations. And finally, we'll learn the parameter properties of reports. Okay guys, let us move on with the session.
See, when it comes to SQL Server, when it comes to SQL Server, there will be already DBS in your company. Okay, in your organization, there will be DBS. It's their job to install, provide access, or restrict access. Okay, or deploy, manage anything that happens on SQL Server. It's DBS job. Okay. Now, when it comes to MSBI, right, Microsoft Business Intelligence, be it SSRS, SSIS, or SSAS, developer also need to take care of these things. Okay, DBA may do or may not do. Most of the SQL Server DBAs will not have much knowledge on MSBI. They'll be on SSRS SQL Server only. So developer have to understand how things need to be set up for SSRS, how to provide access, restrict access, troubleshoot, manage something goes wrong. Okay. So admin activities are part of developer roles when it comes to MSBI services. Okay, when it comes to MSBI services. So pay attention for everything that a learning part of it. So don't think that okay, everything will be set up and given to me, so that we can start development. So here we will download first SSRS reporting services. Download SSRS and install it. Okay, SSRS is a SQL Server reporting services. SQL Server reporting services. Download it, install it. Once after you install it, the first thing that you should do is run configuration manager. This step you need not to do if it was to 2016. Okay, there was an option to auto configure. Now here you don't have. So again we are going back, like in version 2012 up to 2012 we had to manually configure it, but then in 2016 it was part of the installation. Again now they have taken it out, so you have to configure it. How do you configure SSRS after installation? You have to run configuration manager. SSRS has its own configuration manager. Okay, all you have to do is go to start menu, search for SQL Server reporting configuration manager. So this one, straight away here it says reporting server configuration manager. Okay, start this. You have to be admin on the system you are connecting. Okay, so you have to be administrator of that system. So this is SSRS configuration manager. Okay, so here we'll do the basic settings for this service. Even before you come here, if you want to verify whether your installation is successful or not. Okay, if you want to verify if your installation is successful or not, go to run services and check for SSRS service. Okay, so start run prompt services.msc SQL Server reporting services. So it is installed successfully. Yeah, whatever you installed, it installed successfully. Sometimes even if it installed successfully, it may not be in running condition. Okay, in running mode. So you can start this service and make sure that it is in running mode. After that, the configuration manager. Now you can see that services is started and it is running. So these three things are very important: web service URL, database, and web portal URL. Okay, these three things are very important. Rest you don't need to worry right now. Okay, rest of the things. So these three are very important in this configuration manager. We'll start with database. So you have to set up a database for this SQL server, sorry, SSRS. Okay, everything that you develop, the reports that you design, the queries you will write there, the color formatting, anything that you do, right, as part of report development, that entire definition has to be stored in database. Okay, so that report definition has to be stored somewhere. Whether it's not only report definition, even administrative information like who can access that report, okay, who can download that report, what subscriptions you have on that report. Yeah, such information can also be for such information also you need database, okay, backend database. That has to be SQL server only, SQL server database only. So before we do that, we'll open the SQL Server Management Studio. People who join newly, who don't know anything about SQL Server or SSMS, I'll tell you as part of this course as we go on. I'll cover the basics also. What is what? So you don't have to worry. So this is SQL Server Management Studio. This is used for accessing or managing your database. This is used by both DBAs and developers to work on SQL Server. Okay. That will be used by both. Connect to localhost. Right. So there are two databases here and some system databases. These two are project related databases. So now you come here to SSRS configuration manager and you will assign a database for this reporting services. Create a new report server database. Yes. Next. Next. So this would be database name. Right. So there is a database ready for us. I mean, we cannot use this database directly. Okay, this is application control database. So only SSRS can talk to this database, write anything to database or retrieve anything from this database. Okay, this is for this application SSRS. So you can come back here to SSMS and you can see that two new databases will be created. Reporting server, where actual report definitions, access controls and everything will be stored. This temp DB is for runtime access. When somebody is browsing the report to hold that temporary data, cached data, this database will be used. So there will be a lot of tables, predefined tables to take care of users, subscriptions, right, the very report definition itself. So we'll come to this database later. Okay, when we are covering advanced topics of SSRS, we will touch this database. Okay, until then, it's just an application database. Okay, fine. Now that your database is set up, we will go ahead and configure URLs. Okay, so before we configure web portal URL, we have to apply web service URL. Very shortly, I will tell you what are these URLs. Okay, come here to web service URL and click on apply. So what are the steps? We go to report configuration manager. Assign database. Step 2. Configure report manager URL and report server URL. These two things, these are the only two things which you'll be using for creating, deploying, developing, managing everything that deals with SSRS. Okay. So now I have set up web service URL. So the second thing, the third thing that I should do is set up manager URL. This is called report manager. Okay. So all you have to do is just click apply here. So this apply will not be activated unless you activate web service URL. So web service URL is called report server. Okay, and this is called report manager. So unless you activate report server, you cannot activate report manager. That's it. I think now these are all activated. There is database, there is service URL, and there is portal URL also. Okay, that's it. The URLs. Okay, I want to stop here. Some of you may have a question relating things here. Yeah, it's because these are distributed things, so you'll have some doubt. So somebody is asking me, at the very first screen you entered the server name. Is that SQL server name? Yes, that is SQL server name. If so, when I try to enter server instance name, it says report server error provider. So you have to make sure that you are administrator on the system. Even if you don't know the name, you have to give localhost. Okay, you can give localhost. So when you start report server manager, right? So here, if you don't know the name, you can say simply localhost. Find connect. Okay. You don't know the name of the server, you can say localhost. Provided you haven't given a different name while installing for the instance. Okay. So in your services, you have to make sure that your integration services, sorry, reporting services installed on the same instance. I mean the default instance. There is no name attached to this. Yeah, that's it. Okay, guys. So do I need SQL Server 2017 and SSRS 2017? I have 2016. You can continue on 2016 also. SSRS 2017, there are no much improvement, so you can continue 2016. It's good, no problem. But if you want to try out 2017, yes, you can go ahead and try. Actually, SSRS is not part of 2017 installable. I don't know what is the strategy they have. Yes, 2017 will work on Windows 2007. But I'm really surprised why they haven't bundled SSRS along with SQL Server 2017 installation. Additionally, see, MSBI started in 2005. So, 2005 means 2017 up to 12 years. SSRS was part of MSBI installation. They have made it this one, you see, reporting services, SQL Server reporting services. This is a link. Okay. That was a link to download and install. So we will create a shared drive. Okay, we will create a shared drive. I'll upload these text files and everything that I'm using. Okay, so you don't have to worry. You'll get all these links and everything. Let's see where they are heading. Okay, so fine. Anyways, it's not a problem for us. We can still continue. So this is report server URL. Okay, report manager URL is also same, but just that it will not have that extra just reports. Okay, just reports is your report manager. This is also called as portal. This is called as web service. Right. So this one we will visit later. Okay. Report server is where we deploy reports, and this is where end user will view our reports, whatever we design, deploy, right? Whatever we design and deploy, this is where. So right now this is blank. Nothing is hosted here. Okay, nothing is deployed. So nothing is hosted. So this is blank page. But as you create reports and as you design reports and deploy them, they will appear here. They will appear here, and whoever has link and necessary access, they can browse reports, browse your reports. Fine. That was the role of your configuration manager. So yeah, I'll come to the questions little later. So this configuration, so this is what we have to do in configuration manager before we begin with development. Okay. Setup. Now we'll talk about development. Okay. So for this you need SSDT. So this would be same for all the three services, IS, RS and AS. You need SSDT. Download and install SSDT, SQL Server Data Tools, powered by Visual Studio. So here you can see Visual Studio 2017 SSDT. Every time they're changing this name. Up to 2012, this was called BITS, Business Intelligence Development Studio. I think most appropriate name, Business Intelligence Development Studio. Later, from 2012 onwards, they started calling it Data Tools. Data Tools 2012, 2014, 2016. In these three versions, it was called as Data Tools. From 2017 onwards, they are not abbreviating this. They're just calling it Visual Studio. So start Visual Studio 2017. Studio is much bigger application. Okay, this is not only used here. We are using it only for MSBI services, the MSBI development, but Visual Studio is much bigger than that. You can develop many things, multiple things. So this Visual Studio is called IDE. Okay, this is not like your SSMS. Okay, so this SSMS is a querying tool. In order to work with database, we need this SSMS. Okay. This is SSMS is called client. So let me clearly explain what SSMS is and what Visual Studio Data Tools is. Okay, clearly I will put this out for you so that we don't have confusion going forward. See, you have database. Okay, then to connect to this database or to do anything on this database, you need SSMS. This thing is called client. Okay, this thing is client. You have MSBI services. Okay, all the three services, SSIS, SSRS, SSAS and SSAS. You can actually call database also as a service. Now, in order to work with MSBI services, we need SSDT, SQL Server Data Tools. But this is called IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Now, this SSMS you will find in both development environment and production environment. This you will have only in development environment. You will not have it in production environment. Okay. You use it only for developing and deploying. You will use this only to develop and deploy. That's all. You will not use this to manage it. Okay. Whereas SSMS is used For managing, we don't develop anything here. Yeah, we may create some stored procedures and all. That if you call it as development, fine, but we don't develop a solutions here like we do in SSDT. Okay, this is mostly used for managing. See, why I call this as client is because you can set this SSMS without database services also. Means, what does that mean is, you have a server in your organization where database is installed, database service is installed, and you have your laptop. As a user, you have just your laptop. And from your laptop, you want to connect to the database. All you have to do is install SSMS. That's all. So very lightweight client. You install SSMS, this one. Then you can connect to your office server or wherever the server is, at the client location or somewhere on the cloud. So you can connect to this servers. Okay. So you don't have to actually have database installed, database services installed on your laptop, on your client. Okay, so that's why it's called client. Okay, so that's the advantage we have there. So, but SSDT is not like that. This MSBI services are needed. First, you have to have MSBI services installed on development server wherever, and then you put SSDT, SQL Server Data Tools, which is this. So when you're installing for the first time, you don't have to worry about all of this, is because everything is in one system for you. Your database services is on one same system, SSMS is on the same system, MSBI services installed are also on the same system, and SSDT is also on the same system. And when you're working in a team, company, yes, this information is required. Now we'll create our first SSRS report. Create our first SSRS report. Right, it is ready. Your SSDT is ready. So click on File, New, Project. File, New, Project. Reporting services project. So you have to give a location where this solution will be stored. This is a solution, this is a project name. So this project will be attached to a solution. Okay, you can have a different name for the solution, or you can leave it the same. Training project solution. Okay. Create directory for solution. Yes. So a separate folder will be created for solution, in which your project will be created. We will discuss the solution project thing later. Okay. Once we create the project, we will understand better. But the important thing that you have to notice here is that ability to add to source control. Now, what is source control? So this Visual Studio, along with it, has another plugin called Team Foundation Server. Okay, TFS, which is used for version controlling your code. Okay, if 10 people are working, right, so it becomes messy who is working on what. So it should have an option to check in and check out. If somebody checks out, other person should not be able to update, do any changes to that file, right? So so that capabilities we have in Visual Studio, and that segment is called as Team Foundation Server. If you want to add your project to that Team Foundation Server, you have to check this. If not, you can just. This is the first session we are taking for the batch. Okay, I'm starting a fresh batch. Okay, started with SSRS. Right, as soon as you create this project, see this training project, this is a project. So this project will be placed in a solution. Solution is just a logical collection of projects. You can have one or more projects. Ideally, we create one project. In some scenarios, we can create other project also, but ideally there will be one solution in which you'll have a project. So the project is the important thing. The main thing is your project. Everything will be done at project level. Solution is just like a folder which holds all your projects together. And your TFS also deals mainly with solution. Right now in this project, let's add a report. Add new item, report. Report 1, add. This is your report designer. Okay, so this is report designer. I just close this. So this is your report. You just added this report, a blank report. If you double click on this report, report designer will open up. This is report designer. Okay. Report designer has two main things, the designer view and the preview. Designer view is where you develop or you design your report. Yeah, and you check the preview, how it is going to look on browser. So you can see the preview if there is something developed. Okay. Right. So this designer has two views, designer view and preview. Now your SSRS has two other panels. After you create SSRS project and add a report, you will have three segments. The first is report designer, which will have designer view and preview. Okay, then you have report data. Okay, everything that relates to the report. Okay, every definition that relates to the report will be stored here in report data. Then you have toolbox. This is where you have all the chart controls. You pick chart controls from toolbox, put them on report designer. You pick data from report data and connect both, and then you design a report. And report data is where you deal with SQL and parameters. SQL and report parameters. So we'll visit this report data. Right, report data the panel. We have just seen the report designer. In this report data, we have to add a data source first. We have to add a data source first. Before we add a data source, okay, so we have to prepare data. What we want to show on this report, we have to prepare the data. So we'll go back to the database, one of our reports, one of our databases. Okay, this is simple call log. Day on day, how many calls are made? Okay, how many calls are placed? All your keywords has to be in caps. At least in your first class, I'll follow this code standard. Okay, so this one, the simple SQL query I have here. So this will day wise give me total calls. Now we'll take this query as is. Okay, before we take this query, we have to create a data source. Data source is simply a connection to database. So whether it is Oracle, SQL Server, Teradata, whatever. We create data source, then we create data set. Connect the data source. Now data set is your SQL query. Is where your SQL query goes. So you put your SQL query, unable to connect to data source. Okay. So go back to data source. So these are fields, two fields, call date and total calls. Okay, your data set is ready. Now this is what we have to do in report data. Get data for our report. Get data for our report. Prepare SQL statement and get data for our report. So now your data set is ready along with the data source. Now we'll visit the third panel, which is your toolbox. Toolbox, okay. This is report that was reported on toolbox. From here, I'll take chart control, line chart, click OK. I'll not be going deep into the details of this chart control because as of now I want to show you the end-to-end process, developing and deploying the report till end user can access this. Day-wise, total calls. This is your first report. Yeah, we have a lot of formatting to do on this report. You can see that there was a drop. Assuming that if these are continuous dates and this is like today's date or yesterday's date, you can see that there is a drop in the amount of calls. Okay, fine. Now we have this report. We can format it, but let's just go with this. The only formatting I'll do is you don't want date time there. Okay. And this one, right? So these are the calls made in last 6 days. Now you have your report. Now after this, so we have designed our first report. Some basic changes I have done, the formatting wise. We will discuss what are those formatting changes I have done later when we detail. We will discuss when we discuss this chart control in detail. Okay. So now we have this chart control. So the second tip. So we have created our first report. Okay. What are the steps that are involved? Step one: create data source, which is simply link to database server. You need the IP address of the database server, login ID and password and database name. With those four details, you can create a data source. Next, create data set. This is where you will write SQL statement to bring the data. The only way is just writing SQL statement. So SQL, having knowledge on SQL is a prerequisite. Not only for SSRS, for any other tool in MSBI, ISAS, having knowledge on SQL is a prerequisite. So you'll write SQL query. So creating. And step 3, add chart control. Okay, add chart control. And now after adding chart control, just once again I will do these steps. Okay, see, after creating, I'll remove this chart from here. Okay, so this was the empty report I had. Okay, so first report data, create data source, then create a data set with the query that we composed, then go to toolbox, put chart control. You have many things here. Okay, actually we should start from table and matrix, but we are creating the first report. Yeah, let's go with the line report. So bring chart to the chart control to this panel. Select line chart. curve one. Let's take the curve one. Looks interesting. With this y values, y category groups. Yeah, we'll not answer these questions now. When we discuss in detail about this chart control, I'll answer every question related to this. Okay. So we'll put here simply total calls as values, call date as categories. We'll do little formatting on this x-axis. We'll show it in proper date format. And this one y-axis labels for better readability. We will enable this thousands operator. We'll increase this line length a bit. Width, thickness of that line. So we got here. Right. This is our first chart or report. Okay. So what is chart? Collection of reports. So sorry, what is report? Collection of charts. So here this is a chart. This is only chart. You can give title daily call volume or ticket volume or whatever. Okay. Daily calls volume. We completed the first part. This is your part 1. Part 2 is developing report. Then, sorry, part 1 is developing report. Then we'll have part 2 where we have to deploy and test the report. Right. So we created this report. Yeah, we designed this report. So now we have to do the second part of the process, which is deploying this report. So we go to project. For that deployment, what we need is report server URL, which is this. Okay, we need report server URL. Go to project properties. Right click on this project. Open properties. Properties. And you can see here target server URL. This is already configured. If not, you can paste that URL. Okay. It's already configured. If not, you can paste that and click apply. This is where our report will be prepared. We'll rename this. Now right click on the project again, and now this time click on deploy. Deploying report. Deployment started. Deploy succeeded. 1 succeeded, 0 failure, 0 skipped. So our deployment is successful. Okay. So we go back to report server. Refresh this. See now training project. That is our project. Okay, this one. Now inside this project, you will find the report we created, daily calls volume. Click on this report link. You can see that report on the browser. So whoever has this link, right, they can access our report. But provided we give them security, we add them. We add the user to our report. So what we are seeing now is report server on browser. Okay, so this is your report on browser. Okay, so this is a report on browser. So we can see that the calls volume steadily increased, but then again straight away decreased. Fine. So it's asking whether the user need to be on my server. No, but they have to be on your domain, on your network. So we take this. This is our report server. Okay, so this is the deployment is simple. So all we have to do is provide target server URL, and again right click deploy. So straight away your report will be deployed. You can deploy the entire project. You can do the deployment at project level so that all the reports inside that project will be deployed together. Or you can individually deploy a report. You just say deploy a particular report. This is your report on the browser. So there are two things, right? One was report server and other is report manager. Now what you will have in this report manager? One thing is we'll not deploy reports here. But then what we will have here and what is this used for? So we'll open that UI. This is how report manager looks like. Okay, so this is your portal. This is how report server looks like. So you can click here on the training project, the project that you deploy. So whatever you deploy to report server will can be viewed in report manager also. Okay, can be viewed means parallelly deployed to report manager. I mean, actually they don't get deployed here in manager, but they're connected to it. So what is the advantage? We can view the report here also, but what is the advantage of this report manager? So with this report manager, you can manage your report. You can manage your report like providing security, who can access, adding a user, browser, setting up cache for performance and all. We will come to this later. Data source settings. There are many things that you can do. You can download a copy of this. You can do direct deployment here instead of, if you don't have data tools, you can, if you have just the report file, okay, RDL, you can straight away upload it to report manager, delete it altogether. Primarily administrative activities. Okay, you can do administrative activities using this report manager. Okay, we will discuss about this report manager in detail. Advanced SQL Server SSIS okay, sessions, but mostly we'll be focusing on report server. Let's understand everything in one picture. So when you install SSRS, you get two things. Okay, you get two things. One is server and other is manager. One is server and other is manager. This is server where you deploy your report. This is manager from where you manage your report. Okay, I have shown you both. So these two are connected to internal databases. There are two actually. I have written only one here. I'm presenting only one here, but there are actually two databases. The other one is a temp one. There will be to and fro communication between your SSRS both server and manager. Using data tools, you will design and deploy reports to server. Okay, using Visual Studio data tools, you will design and deploy to server. Okay, and using browser, you can communicate with manager for admin activities, for administration related activities. Okay, for that you will only need browser. You cannot connect to manager using the data tools. Okay, you can only deploy. You can design and deploy to server using data tools. But in order to connect to manager, to manage reports, you will do that using browser. Same browser at the client side, Chrome, Mozilla, Netscape, Safari, whatever. So your client browser will connect. Yeah, right. I'm running out of chats in this. Using request response model. Your client browser will send a request for a specific report. That report will be returned to the browser in the form of response. Request and response will be handled by server, not the manager. Okay, both request and response will be handled by the manager. Report server database is for internally storing the data. Okay, this is the architecture of your SSRS. So this part, you will have it only in development phase. You'll have it only in development phase. Install remains same in production also. In production, you will not have this one. But SSRS service, you need it both in development box and also in production box. SSRS service. Okay, fine. Did you understood this one? This architecture? You have any doubts here? Do they mean any notes you have? Okay, guys. Now what we'll do is, as part of this training, we will use AdventureWorks database. Okay, we will use AdventureWorks database because that is a common database. Even you can find it. I can find it. Everyone can find it. Sponsored by Microsoft. 2014. It's a very good database. So actually, yeah, our creating first report is over. We have successfully created first report. We deployed it, and we finally understood the architecture also. All the components related to SSRS. That's all. These are the only things we have in SSRS. Server, manager, database of its own, and data tools. We have AdventureWorks DW 2017 backup also. Let's download this one. Oh, I think it will take a lot of time. Fine. We will use this database in the next session. Until then, we will continue with our own database. Okay. So, I have another database, online orders. So I should not use this CRM reporting database. Orders. What are these orders? So on this data, what we will do now, let the download continue. What we will do, we will create flat report. Okay, these are called flat reports. Both your matrix and tablix and matrix reports are called flat reports. Okay, so we have special chart controls for them, this table and matrix. SSRS, most of the SSRS reports, developed will be using these two controls only because SSRS is best here. This tablix and matrix reports. We'll create one report and I will discuss like what is the difference, what are the chart reports and what are these flat reports, how are they different and everything. So we'll create one table report now. Add another report, new item, the report. Now this report, again it has its own preview, designer, report data and toolbox. See, we'll be connecting to the same database, okay, CRM reporting database. Now, if multiple reports under a project have to be pointed to the same database, then we can create a shared data source instead of report specific data source. Right? Here, the data source is report specific. You can see that. Right? Instead of creating a data source specific to a report, let's create a one at the project level. Add new data source. Call the reporting. Right. So see, the connection manager, the data source is created at a project level. Now we'll go into our new report. So this one will be called as agent daily calls. Okay. So this one, in this report, now that we have a data source created at the project level, we can refer to that directly in our report. Instead of embedding connection in it, we will use a shared data source reference, which is this. Okay, the one created at project level. Okay, so we have a data source and we create a data set. In this data set, we have to point to the data source first. If you don't know how to write SQL query, if you are not very strong or you don't want to write SQL query, simply you can go to query designer. You can use query designer. Okay. So when you open query designer, it will list down all the tables that are there in this database, stored pages if any. Right. So that you can choose from that list. So we'll take this table, not all the columns. Just the caller ID, destination, call status. Click OK. These 4 fields we want those 4 fields. See, SQL query is automatically composed for you. Click OK. Right? So this is a data set, a simple data set. Now we'll go to toolbox and bring tablix. This is called tablix. Okay. This is tablix, which has a header row and a detail row. Now right click on this, tablix properties, and data set, connect our data set one. Okay. The data set that we created here. So now you can choose these fields on this tablix. The first field would be caller ID, then caller time, then the destination. I need one more column. Right click on this, insert column, right, call status. Okay. So we have a lot of data in this report. I mean, it's basically represented. So this is your flat report. We'll do some formatting on this report. So this one, you can collectively select everything and switch to bold. Okay, you can select the entire row and switch to bold. Call time, format, text box properties format. The same formatting we did earlier on the line chart. So you can see here the caller ID, date, destination, and the call status. Call status, we will do center alignment, center aligned, destination, right aligned. F4 will bring you extended properties. You can go for a background color. Now, what you're seeing here, this kind of report is called paginated report. Okay, this is called paginated report for the very simple reason that it runs through pages. You see, it is going through multiple pages. Okay, so this is called paginated report, or you can also call it as printable report. So these reports are printable reports or paginated reports. Now, the reports that you design using matrix and tablix are called flat reports, or mostly called as, these days these reports are called as paginated, or some people are also referring them as canned reports. Okay, see, these are what reports are. Okay, people are referring these as reports. Now analytics, right, you might be hearing a lot about analytics. Analytics are above this, where you mainly deal with chart controls, mainly deal with charts like bars, lines, and many scatter, heat, remap, convert. Okay, there are many things. Okay, analytical reports. The primary purpose of this report, see here also, in here also we can put line chart, a bar chart and line chart, and can print that report. See, this report, you can print even this report also. Okay, this is not a paginated report. Line charts, bar charts, they will not run through pages. Okay, that's not how they are designed. But you can print these reports also. But these are not analytical reports. Why? Because here on this reports, you can do drill downs, also drill throughs, and you can do so many things. Okay, so there are a lot of possibilities. So that's where the disconnect. Okay, that's where the stepping up happens. Okay, so you have this SSRS, which is very good at creating this kind of flat reports, paginated reports, printable reports, or whatever. So using tablix and matrix. Now I will show you lot many things that we can do on that report. Okay, so which are very specific to SSRS. Now when you go to analytics, like we have Power BI, okay, which deals with analyzing data to identify patterns. Actually, all these drill downs and what if, in a way you can do in SSRS also, but mainly we use Power BI for analytics so that you can identify patterns, better insights, and all that is possible using analytics. Now, analytics tools like Tableau, ClickView, or Power BI, they should not be used for creating tablets and matrix paginated because they are not good there. Okay, SSRS is good here in this domain, and it can using SSRS you can actually design this also. You can do everything possible because SSRS is highly customizable. Okay, but the development time will be more. So we switch to analytical tools like Power BI. So both have their own significance in their area. Okay. So learning both is important. So people will often get confused. Why to learn SSRS? We can learn Power BI or we can learn Tableau. Okay, this. No, this reporting tool has its significance. Okay, which only this can do. See, like you want to send a list of all the open items to your warehouse guy. What all orders to be dispatched. So you need what? You need customer number, contact address, contact number, right? All that need to be printed on a report, on a paper, and handed out to your warehouse guy so that he can dispatch them. Yeah, they need to be printed report. Okay, your medical examination report that has to be printed, right? With proper parameters or indicators, whatever, right? So those reports, right? Your payroll report, attendance report, right? Any scientific report. So all these printable reports mostly will be designed using these reporting tools, standard reporting tools, tablets, matrix, and all. When you do analytics, more of identifying patterns, trends, right? Optimization, cost reduction, all that, spend analysis. So we use analytical tools. Fine. On this one, what will I do is, you see, this is a very basic report. I have done some formatting. You can explore this formatting. Okay, so there is no limit here. It's up to your creativity. The color you choose, the font style you choose, the alignment you do. Okay, it all depends upon either you have a template from the customer, you go follow the template, or it's up to the developer. Okay. Now that this report is reasonably good looking, so what we will do is we will group this report. Okay, group this report based on caller ID. We will group this report based on caller ID. So what will I do? Right click on this caller ID, add group, parent group, group by caller ID, add group header. Okay, there are caller IDs. The data is disturbed, and this is a destination. So we have some caller IDs without names. Okay, so the data is not consistent. Okay, the underlying data is not consistent. So if we query this table, so it has to be contact number, but in some cases you may have names also. You see, like this. We will do one thing. We will ignore from caller ID. So there is bad data in this table. We have to remove that bad data. So one thing we can do is we can take only the caller IDs which are starting with alphabets. Okay, so there's a query you can try, or else yeah, let's not do the data cleaning. Okay, we have to write that SQL query and all. So we'll go with this data. We know that it is not in good shape, but anyways, so now here you have this caller ID data and everything, right? So based on caller ID, we will create a group. So how will I create a group? So there are three ways in which I can create a group. Right click here, insert add group, or here add group, or simply the best way is to come to details row. Here you have row groups, right? Come here, open here. Now that you have added this as a group header, you can remove this caller ID. You can remove the actual column. Right click and delete. So this is a caller ID, voice, your data. Now that we have this group, we can design drill down and drill up. So for that, what I have to do, open this group properties, details properties. Display can be toggled by caller ID and by default hide. So you'll have something like that. So you can go to a specific user, and you can see just that particular user call records. Okay, so you can see just that particular user call records. This is grouping on this report. This is grouping on this. We can further group this report by call time, add group, parent group, without header, just based on call time. So we'll remove this actual call time column. And for this also, I'll again tell you what I'm doing here. It might be a little confusing for you, doing too many things at once. I'll show you what will happen now to the report. Then we'll come there and see what I have done. So now I can go to a particular user, and for a given date, okay, there's only one call placed here. Here for 2 days. Okay, there's one. So what I have designed here is now called as drill down or drill to. But before that, what we have done is we have created groups. Okay, so this feature is specific to your Tablix report. Your flat reports. Now your flat reports, they are not only paginated reports, printable reports. This flat reports also gives you the flexibility of creating groups, grouping, and groups and drill down. Okay, so it's doing both groups and drill down. So your Tablix. You then can do pagination and then reporting, then sorting, and many things are possible. Okay, this is your flat report. Now we will also discuss about matrix report, but later. But the idea here is that these reports are created for mainly uh, showing information. These are called informative reports. Okay, for displaying information, and need not to be analyzed further, just to carry the business. Or so for floor reports, supervisor reports, team lead reports, like how many calls are open, how many calls need to be closed, how many tickets are pending, how many tickets are in progress. Okay, so such kind of information, when you are looking at a particular system, you can pull using this simple lightweight flat reports. Should not There won't be much of formatting on these reports. Okay, main purpose is to throw the information. That's what we use this flat reports. Okay, groups and drill downs. In next session, we will entirely focus on this flat reports, and also how to parameterize those reports so that you can select particular data and see them. And also I will clearly explain you what we have done here in this drill down and drill up, how to set up toggling visibility using the groups. Okay, so today I wanted to demonstrate how this report thing works and all. And moreover, I don't have proper data set. Yet this data is not clean. This data is junk actually, mostly junk. Okay, so this data is not clean. We actually have to use ETL to clean this data, like SSIS tool. But anyways, this database is being downloaded. Once it is done, I will attach it, and we will create some good reports. Okay, we'll have proper data. I think I'll conclude the session here, and we'll give you some assignments. But before that, let me take some questions. Yes. So Shiva is asking, is it is taking timestamp to group them. Can we exclude timestamp and take only date? Yes, yes, we much agree can do. Actually, if you notice, uh, earlier when we did the line report, we actually did that. See, our query excluded time. We casted this timestamp as date, so we only took date. The same thing we can do here also. So you go to this report, design view, open data set where you have a SQL query, and this is a time column. Simply, we can do this from SQL, which is the best way. Okay. Simply say date. Okay, so the time part will be excluded and alias. Still, you're getting here time, so this is default time. Okay, this is one stupid thing your SSRS will do. So this time we can eliminate by doing the formatting of this text box. Okay, so this is possible. So I'll show you now how to see. After this download completes, you will get a backup file. Okay, .bak. So what you have to do that backup file with that backup file is go to this path. In your C drive, go to program files, SQL Server. So you'll have a folder specific to service SSAS. This is for SSAS. This is for SQL 13, and this is for 14, 2017. Okay. And backup. Here you have to place your backup file. Once the download is done, here you can put your backup file. So I'll ping this link as this path. This path may be a little different in your systems. Okay. If you are not very sure about this path, you can do this. So you right click on database. This is how you have to restore a backup file. You click on restore the database. Select device. Click add. Now here this will give you the path. Now this is where, if your backup file is already here, it is convenient to restore. And the second thing is, you will not have the risk of permissions. Sometimes what happens, you will not have proper permissions to restore a disk file which is in another disk, another drive, disk drive. Okay. So to avoid to any access related issues that may arise, okay, we will do what? We will simply copy that path where it is expecting a backup file, and we will go there and paste it. That's it. So if you do this, then any unwanted, any required permissions or anything else will be taken care. Okay, so that's why I do that. Actually, you can put it anywhere you want. If that is a backup file, if it is a data file, MDF, okay, once you restore, right, so that will come up as like a database like this. If one after you restore, that backup file will turn into data file that you will find in data folder. So because end of the day everything is file, okay, whether you see those tables there in rows and columns form, it's also a file at the back end. So this is MDF file. If you have this file itself, MDF file itself, then you can attach it. You can attach a MDF file, but generally you will not find MDF files on internet because they are huge. See here, this CRM reporting file, it is 32 MB. Actual data size is 32 MB. But if you back it up, it is just 56 KB, 56 MB. How is it possible? Okay. that backup is along with the log file. See the log file 800 MB. Okay, so that backup will have both data and log also. Okay, so log file is taking that amount of space. So it's actually in total 860 MB. But if you back it up, it's much smaller. Okay, it's much smaller. Fine. If you have a file here, what to do is you right click, restore database, select device, point to that backup file, click OK, click OK. You can give a different name because I already have CRM reporting database name. Click OK. You can say actually this was, when was the backup taken? Almost 2 years back. So that will restore and create a database here. Once you have the database, you can use it whatever way you want. Where is restore field? I think it is using the same path, files path. But anyways, if you're when you're doing the fresh restore, okay, you'll not have a database like this. It will be very straightforward for you to restore this. Okay, after you put this database in place, okay, pick up any table and create one simple line chart. It need not to be based on dates. It can products or anything. Okay, compose a simple SQL query, on that database, and create a line or a bar chart. Create a line and a bar chart, deploy it, and show it to me. Okay, in next class, show it to me. So these are all the things that you have to do before you create your report. First, you have to download that, set it up, configure it. Right, these 3 steps you have to do: configuring it. Then you create your report using not any data, but using AdventureWorks data. Okay. So link I already gave, download, attach it. Using this data, create a basic report. Now I'll not tell you which table to use, what data to put. Okay, you decide on that. But you come up with a report, very simple report, line chart or bar chart, deploy it. So this was the basic flat report we created with tablet. Today we'll do more. So the database, okay, for some reason, service is not running. So I have consolidated AdventureWorks data to this table. So for the flat report, I will take product category, product subcategory, standard cost. Yeah, we'll go with this 3 fields. But these values, I will sum them. So I'll apply aggregations on these columns. So why we have to apply aggregation, I'll tell you shortly. So right, so this will be grouped by. So these are the aggregated values. Okay, so I will give this aggregated values. I will supply these aggregated values to this report that I'm going to make. Okay, product sales. We need a data source. So here actually the table that we are using is in a different database. Okay, so right as of now we have only connection to CRM reporting. So we'll create another data source. Right. So this is a project level data source. Now any report in this project can access the data source. So but again we have to create a connected data source within the report. Okay, pointing to the project data source. Okay, so this is just a reference link. To create that reference link, then we can go which actually brings the data. Okay, where you have to write a script. I think it's the same problem. So what is happening is there's a bug in this 2017. There's a bug. So we have this query. It's an aggregated query. Okay, see, pay attention here. I am not giving a direct query. This is an aggregated query. Okay, a direct query would be something like this. Okay, which is transactional. Okay, so this is a query without any aggregation. So this query will return how many records? So if you see, this aggregated query has written only 17 records. Okay, 17 records. Fine. If you go with the non-aggregated query, you will have around 60k records. Right? You will have around 60k records. So I'm consciously giving only aggregated query. Yeah, if you want full detailed query, you can, but I'll tell you why I'm doing this. Okay, so here I have now these fields. Using these fields, I'll create a table report, product category, product subcategory, cost. Cannot add bulk columns at once. You have to add it one by one. Cost, then amount, tax. So product category, product subcategory, standard cost, and so on. So I'll select this entire row. Hold this. I can do a lot of formatting on this, but anyways, my interest is I can change the background color, set the borders, change the font color, font style, font size. So there are many possibilities, right? Multiple possibilities. So this is a basic, standard report, right? So you have product category wise, product category, then subcategory wise totals, right? Because the data is already aggregated, right? Data is already aggregated. Now we can do this. So these all are amount columns, right? So we can do this basic formatting on these columns. We can turn these columns into. So right click on this. See, every cell in this tab list is a text box. Okay, text box has its own properties, whether it be background color, border, font. Okay, it has its own formatting options. So what I'll do, I'll select currency format. Okay, I'll select currency format and use thousands of letters. You cannot do this text box properties at once. Okay, you have to do one by one. You cannot select two text boxes and apply properties at once. That is not possible. But you can select two text boxes and apply group formatting options like, okay. If you are not able to find these options here, you have to press F4. You have to press F4. F4 will bring extended properties. Okay, F4 will bring those extended properties. If I click F4, see here. So we can do much more formatting. Okay, so now we will change every column here. Quickly we'll do this, and so you can see the preview. Now the amounts are formatted. It looks much better, right? The readability has increased now. Okay, so now on this I will apply grouping. On this I will apply grouping based on product category. See how grouping is done. Okay, so see how grouping is done. So we'll keep this report like this. This is a basic report that we have designed. We have only applied formatting on this report. Okay, we'll keep this one as is. We'll make a replica of this. We'll make a duplicate copy of this. So how you should do that? Control C, Control V. That's all. Control C, Control V will create a duplicate copy. Call it version 2. Now in this, I'll create a group. See, the best way is, see, you can create group in 3 ways. This I have discussed in yesterday's session. Okay? So you can create a group simply by right clicking on this product category, the one you want to turn into a group. Okay. Add group, parent group. You can select the entire row or you can select the tablets, and also you can add a group. Okay, parent group. The third option and the recommended option is click on this details. Details. See here you have row groups. Column groups are not relevant here. Column groups are not relevant for tablets. They they are applicable for matrix. Okay, column groups are applicable for matrix. So here in tablets we'll only deal with row groups. Now in these row groups, if you see here, you already have a default group. This is called default group. Okay, details. What this means is this record. So understand the nature of this tablets, how this tablets is working. It has two rows, one header row and one detail row. This detail row is also called repeater. Okay, because this detail row repeats. Okay, repeats for the number of times equal to number of records that the dataset returns. See, this dataset returns 17 records, right? So this row will be repeating 17 times to show all those records. If there are any blanks, nulls for any cells, it will simply show blank there. Okay, so this is your data row. Now this data row is grouped under row groups as a default group. This one, details. We have certain options here, like if you open the properties of this detail group, you can apply sorting on this. We want to sort by revenue. Okay, you want to sort by revenue. So here you can see this is ascending. By default, sorting is ascending. So I'll change it to descending. The highest sale value categories are shown first, followed by the least ones. So you can see that the main category is bikes. Okay. So these are, I'll remove the sorting anyways. I don't want that sorting. Okay, you can apply filters and all, but yeah, sorting is one common feature that we use for this groups. Okay, default groups at least. Now we'll create another group. We'll create a group above this default group. So simply open this drop down, click on add group and click on parent group. Okay, so based on what? Based on product category. Do you want a header? Yes. So what will happen now? Your data will get grouped like this. Okay, data will get grouped like this. Remember, while adding the group, we have checked this box, add group header. The implication of that add group header is you will get this reserved row for every group, one reserved blank row for every group. Okay, there is an advantage with that. I'll discuss that. But before that, see here we have grouped by product category, right? But we also have product category, which is there from beginning. Now that we have it as a group, we don't need this additional column. So we'll delete this column. Okay, we'll delete this column. So now this is a category and the subcategories within that category, right? Now here you see this, these are the total values, right? Why they are total values? Remember, because you already aggregated them in the query. So these are total values. Now I want totals. Now these are totals at subcategory level. Now I want totals at category level. Totals at category level. So what I can do is add total before. Simply open the default group again. The way you added a parent group, I'll add totals before. So when I click this add totals before, what happened was instantly these formulas were inserted into that reserved row, okay, or the group header, so that now you can see these total values. Accessories, these are the total values. For bikes, these are the total values. For clothing, these are the total values. So what we have done, we have added a group and also totals for that in VB. Okay. Just to keep things connected, I'll note down the things that I'm doing here. Okay. In version 1, we simply sorted default row group, right? This was the version 1, the first report that we created. Okay, this default group, I have shown you how you can sort your data. So default group is nothing but your complete data set, right? How to sort this. Now in version 2, we have added a group, okay, parent group with header. Okay, why with header? Because later we wanted to use that header for showing totals. So what we did, we again came back to details and we clicked add totals before. Now this version 2 report, we'll make another copy. Okay, open this copy. Now that there's a group in place, I can apply drill down on this. Okay, I can apply drill down on this. So what I will do for applying drill down, okay, so only you can apply drill down only if there is a group. If there is no group, then you cannot drill down. You cannot apply drill down. So what I will do, I'll go to details, open this group. Earlier I have shown you how to sort this default group, right? Now I will show you how to set visibility for this default group, when to show, when not to show. So the visibility of this default group, what I will do is, I will set to toggle of product category. Okay, this product category, the group that we created. So with that, what happens is, you can anytime expand or collapse that group. Okay, you can control how you want to view your data. Okay, if you have a requirement of collapsing everything before you begin, so what you can do in details, group properties. Here, how I did that, details, group properties, visibility. Under visibility, display can be toggled by this for category 1 and set this to hide. So by default, all your group will be hidden and you can open only the ones you are interested in. Okay, so this is drill down visibility. Why here product category 1? Because product category 1 is the name of this parent group. So if you go to group, here you can see this. Sorry, that is the name of the text box. Okay, that is the name of the text box. Now that this product category group is selected, if I click F4, it will bring up the properties of this text box. Okay, so here you can see the name of the text box, product category 1. Okay, product category 1. So that's the text box name. So any action happens on the text box, like click, on click. Okay, the on click event will be captured and toggling will be set for this group, the default group, the group. Okay. This I can implement next level of right. So that is group and its drill down. So this is your version 3. In V3, we have added drill down functionality. We have added drill down functionality. Now, see this everything is grouped, right? Everything is collapsed. Okay. So I have totals at category level. Right? I have totals at category level. If I open any group, then I'll have totals at subcategory level. What if I want complete totals? So for that we have to understand the scope. Let's understand the scope of this group. Okay. Here you see when I add a total, like in version 2, when I add total, what actually happened? Every text box, right? Every text box not only supports formatting, like earlier we have seen how we can format a text box. It not only supports formatting but also expression writing capabilities. Okay, expression writing capabilities. So if you open this one text box expression, here you can see that it is doing summation of the standard cost, right? Summation of the standard cost. If you actually notice, did I say do summation based on category? No, it is simple sum formula, right? It's simply summing up these values. But how do you think it is able to sum up at category level? So how this division is happening? Because of the scope. Okay. You see here this yellow brace, right? This yellow brace. So this is defining the scope. So this sum function, which is there, which is part of this scope, will do aggregation only at this group scope. Okay. So now what I will do is I will right click on this. Observe carefully here. I will right click on this detail row. I'll insert row below. Okay, below. Sorry, not part of that. I'll right click here and insert row outside group below. I'll insert a row outside group below. Now this same sum formulas. Okay, I will copy and I'll paste them here. You can do that. Okay. You can copy and paste. Same sum formula. You see the expression here? Sum of standard cost. Here you see again sum of standard cost. But now if you go to preview, see these are grand totals. Okay. Because here for the sum function, the scope is entire data set. Because this row is not part of this group. This row is not part of this group or this group. The default group or the group we created. Okay. So that's why here it will do grand total. Grand total. And you open, you'll have subtotals. This is grand total. This is total at category level. This is at product subcategory level. Okay. So that is something called as scope. Okay. Every group carries scope. So any formula you do, okay, will take that group scope. Okay. And the calculation will be applied only to that portion of data, to that subset of data. Finally, we'll go back to version 1 and we'll write an expression. We have seen formatting, right? we will write small expression product sales. In this, I'll add one more column towards right. Okay. Instead of taking a field directly from the data set, I will right click on this text box, go to expression. See, here you have a lot of libraries. You can use these libraries, math library, text library, okay, and you can compose expressions. You can use your own data fields also. So what I'll do is I'll take sales amount, and from that I will remove cost and tax and shipping charges. Okay, if I remove these three things, what I get is profit. And this one will also be formatted into currency format. Okay, so now you see we have created derived column which is not part of the data set. Using expressions we have derived. So wherever you see this brace means you have a loss there. Going back to our first report, so here we have written a small expression which will calculate profit, right, per product category. We will sort this data based on product category followed by subcategory. Okay, so there is no group as such. This is the first version. Here I have a formula for calculating profit. So now on this text box, properties, for font color, okay, for font color I will set an expression. Okay, so this expression will sales amount minus cost minus tax minus freight. After removing all these three things, if it is less than or equal to 0, okay, then red, font should be red. Okay, if not, black. Right. So this is a simple expression that I am composing here. You see this, the formula, the same formula which is used for calculating profit. If that is less than 0, okay, the font color should be red. If not, black. Now we have written an expression to format to set the color of this text. See, what I'm showing you here is we can write expression not only for calculating the values, okay, something like this, not only for calculating value, but also we can write expression for formatting. Okay, if we actually want, we can format the entire row also. We can set the color for entire row. What we have to do is we have to write expression for background color with the same expression. Okay, we have to write an expression for the background color with the same formula. So likewise, you can use expressions. You can use expressions for writing value, for doing calculations, and also for setting format of the report. Okay, we'll keep this report here. We will now do what? We will take this base query. We will take this base query. Okay, the one without aggregation. So if you see here, how many records we have here? There are 60,000 records. Right? There are 60,000 records. I'll create another report, a new report. Add new item report. Let's name this product location sales. Right. Now in this report, I'll bring matrix. Okay, I'll bring matrix. Okay, so before we add anything, we should have a data source. Same one, online orders. In your case, it will be AdventureWorks and a data set. With this query, see here, there's no aggregation. Okay. Now take the matrix, put it here. See, matrix is very different. Okay, from your tablets. Here you will have both row group and column group. Okay, we'll have both row group and column group. We will come to column group later. Row group. Now for this row group, I will select product subcategory. And for data, I will select sales amount. Just sales amount. Okay. And this one, we will do formatting. See, this is matrix, a very simple matrix. Okay. Product category wise, it has aggregated all the data. Now, if you look at the query, input query, you didn't have any aggregation on this query. What matrix will do is, matrix will take care of the aggregation part. It will do the aggregation. You don't have to do it in the query. So when I selected that sales amount here, by default, some aggregation is applied. By default, some aggregation is applied. If you want, you can change that aggregation. If you want, you can change that aggregation, summarize by some average min count, just if you want to see how many sale transactions you have per category. Yes, you can very much change the aggregation. Okay, but sum is default. Now, so this is a fundamental difference between matrix and tablix. Tablix by default will not give you any aggregations. Okay, it is a plain repeater. It will repeat for the number of records you have in table. Okay. So if you give the entire set, it will show everything. If you give aggregated set, it will make sense because it will show limited data. Okay, so that's why I pre-aggregated data and gave it to tablets. Now when it comes to matrix, you don't have to do the aggregation. Okay, you just feed the data. Now matrix will do the aggregation for you because it is designed in that way. You cannot show detailed transaction level data. You cannot show record level data. Means here how many records we have we got from this query? 17 records. Your tablets will show exactly 17 records. So put totals and subtotals and you'll get more records, but it will show all those 17 records. But matrix is not like that. Matrix will not show detailed records. Okay, transaction level data. See, we have fed total 60,000 records, right, to this matrix, but it will show only 17 because there are only 17 subcategories. So it will add up to each subcategory and it will show only 17 records. So that's a fundamental difference between tablix and matrix. So matrix does the aggregation for you. We can do more. We can add more groups here, just like so. Here add group, parent group. So you don't want to put header. This time let's create without header. Okay, we'll create a group with product category. So it will come just next to this, like this. There is no reserved row for this category because we haven't added a header. Okay, so just group added adjacent next to this. Okay, so product category accessories. Now to this query, let's add two other fields. we will add country and region. Let's say group and country. Okay, we are adding two more columns. Those columns I will use for column groups. Okay. Uh, Before that, we will save this report, make another copy of this report. In this, we'll take this new query. For column groups, we'll add country. Okay, so country will come out like this. So the same data now split up by country. Okay, we can add a header here also. We can country column group. We'll add one more group, parent group, without any header. So Europe, North America, and Pacific. So these are column groups. Okay, these are column groups and these are row groups. Okay, so you have column groups and you have row groups. We can set color. Okay, so we have per category, per subcategory as row groups, and location group and country as column groups. Now here, if you want, we can add one more column. See, this is what this is sales amount. This is sales amount. How do I know that it is sales amount? There are two ways to convey that. One way is you put an empty text box anywhere on the report and say you can do this. You can put a title to convey that you're actually looking at sales value. Or you can add a blank row above this insert row. See, when you have added a row here, it is added as part of this group. Okay, as part of this group. See here, is inside this group. So what will happen? We'll see it now. Sale value repeated everywhere because that is within the group. Okay, that's not my intention. So I'll click here, add row, outside the group. Row. This is sales amount. I can add one more column here. So now this title doesn't make sense. I mean, it still makes sense. But so I'll remove this title because what I'll do now, I'll add one more column inside the group. Okay, one more column, inside the group, towards right, inside the group. And here I will choose cost, standard cost. So now I show both sale value and cost. So cost is not formatted. Let's format that. Now this report is too lengthy. Can we implement the drill down that we did earlier for row groups to column groups? Yes, we can implement drill down for column groups also. See how we can do that. So we'll go to this product category country. Here we open this group properties. Okay, let's not do this directly on this report. We'll make a copy of this. I'll give all these reports for you to practice. Okay, so that's why I am creating multiple reports so that you also do step by step. Now here on this report, this group column group, on this column group, I'll go to group properties. Visibility will be set by sales strategy group. Okay. So the country visibility, whether to show country or to hide country, will be decided by the group toggling. And I have set hide property there. So by default, all the groups will be collapsed. So per category wise, these are the sales numbers coming from different countries. Okay, these are the sale numbers coming from different countries: Europe, North America, and Pacific. Maybe if I am interested to look at North America, I'll open this. So Canada and United States, split is this, or Europe. Okay, so this drill down, as long as you have groups, okay, you can go ahead and put drill downs like this. Right. Now, we will learn how to parameterize a report. Okay, we will learn how to parameterize a report, how to set parameters to report. So that's all, guys, with tablets and matrix. Tablets and matrix. If you have any doubts related to these two, please ask me now. Is it a requirement that every time we use a tablets, we have to give a aggregated query? No, not at all. Let's see this one. We will put a tablets without aggregated query. Okay, but in this, along with this existing list of fields, I will also include one more field, which is product name. So this data I will take now. This data I will take now and create a tablets report. So we're creating essentially a tablets report without aggregated query. So what will happen? So under report data, under data sources, yeah, so there will be repetitive work many a times. Okay, but that's the power of this tool actually. So you have flexibility, great flexibility in auto what you call this one, customizing. the report. Okay, so now this is a transactional view where you literally have all the transactions. You'll get all those transactions. Okay, so look at this report now. It's going to take some time to run because it is now fetching 60,000 records. Okay, so obviously we'll run through pages. Yeah, we'll go through multiple pages. See, on the consecutive pages, you're not able to see header. Okay, because you have to do this setting, tablix properties, repeat header row on each page. So that you can see this header row on every page. Whatever. Okay. Sometimes that property will not be applied properly. So you can go to group, properties. Keep together true. Okay. No problem. If this is not working, so this is header row. Repeat with. So we'll try all the basic options we have. Okay. So like repeat header row on every page and all. If this is not working, generally it should. If not, you can do this. This every group have this advanced mode. Okay, go to this advanced mode. So this will open up static fields. So here you see you have a static field here. Now this one has to be repeated on new page. True. Okay. Then come out of this advanced. So now you see header repeats on all the pages. Okay. So right. So what we have here is now, yeah, obviously this the multiple pages that we have to run through, but we are showing the entire information, right? All the data at once. Now, when you design a report like this, okay, you better have some parameters so that end user will filter what he want to see. If you don't have aggregated data on the report, okay, and grouping drill down options, so what you can do is you can provide parameters. Okay, using these parameters, end customer can pretty much control what you want to see. So for example, I will set a parameter here. Okay, so parameters will create a new parameter, add parameter. This will okay, text character, and that's all. A simple parameter, product name. Okay, if somebody types a particular product name, they should be able to see all the transactions of that product. Okay, all the transactions of that product. So what we will do, just a moment guys. Yes, I'm back. So here we have a product name. So this will be used to filter this report. So if something I type here, a product name, okay, a valid product name, not something like that. Say like here, that should get me only those transactions, okay, which belong to this product name. So I created this parameter, a very simple parameter, which will show up here. Now this parameter I will connect to data set. That's how the filtering happens. Okay, the parameter will not directly filter data on the tablets or any other chart control. What parameter will do is parameter will filter data set. Data set will filter data set. That data set will in turn filter data on the chart control. So I'll open this here. I'll write where product name equal to iterate. These are your supply parameter. Product name. See here at product name. So the same name you have to give here. So now I come back to preview. This time I'll give product name. I know this product name, so I'll give it here, or product number, product serial number, whatever the commonly used one. So now if I filter with that, I'll get all the records which belong to that product. This is very basic thing, right? This is very basic thing. People often doesn't remember product names or product numbers or anything, right? So they might simply do like this. Okay, get me everything belong to road. So what we should do in that case? Can anybody tell me what we should do? Which operator we have to use in SQL? If that is
Percentage
required.
operator. Percentage operator.
Like
Like and
sales transactions. Here in this. In this, what we will do is we will open this data set, and here instead of writing it as equal to, we will say like. So then I'll just say shop road.
You missed one more single quotes again. Okay.
Sorry. If you type road, you'll get everything belong to road. Okay, road tire, ML road. Okay, so you can use like operator and increase the usability of this parameter. Okay. What if I don't know even those basic keywords? I don't know. Maybe something I typed no earlier. What did I type? Like road. Nothing exists with this. Okay, something exists with this. What did I type in the beginning? Max. Okay, so see, in case if nothing comes up, okay, you can set a default message. I forgot to tell you this. Right? But every tablets or matrix, you have this no row message. No row message. Okay, there it is. Yeah, no rows. No row message. Data not found. You can actually do color formatting, adjusting the padding and everything. So some user came up and he is looking for some racks, but if nothing comes up, then he may think that your report is not working properly. Okay, but if he sees this message, no data found, means actually he'll get a feeling like, okay, the search report did a search for this keyword, so maybe there is no data for this keyword. Okay, so what you can do in that case? What you can do is, yeah, you can customize whatever you want. You can put. Okay, you can give whatever the message that you want here. No data found, data not found, data unavailable. Please change the selection criteria or whatever. Okay, so what I will do now, product name, for a moment I will remove this parameter. This is what this is version 2, right? Okay, let's keep this one right there. Now on this, what I will do, I'll remove this parameter product. Okay, if user doesn't know what to type or what to look for, what to search for, okay, I can give set of predefined values. So I'll create one parameter, product category, product category. Now this product category, what I will do, I will set up some available values. So I know what categories will be there. So there will be accessories, bikes, clothing. Okay, accessories, bike and clothing. So now if you go, you get a parameter like this. Okay, controlled input. So user need not to worry what he has to type there. Okay. So what we'll do, we will link this parameter to our report. It's very simple, just like we link product. We'll go here, we'll write where product category now. Product category equal to. See guys, whatever the name I give here, it should be exactly the name of the parameter. So I select clothing and view report. I only see data related to clothing. Okay. So this is a parameter with available values. The way we have given available values, same way we can set a default value also. Maybe every time this report starts, start with bike sales, bikes. Okay, so we have bikes here. Let's start with that. So your report will be auto-filled, and by default it will show data for bikes, and then you now can change and see whatever you want. Okay, you can change and see whatever you want. So this is product category, but product category is too broad. Okay, and also, right, that's a good question. We'll come there. And also, the limitation I have is, I have to manually enter this once. If what if a new product category comes in tomorrow? I will have no clue. So again I have to open this report and add that new. Instead of that, what if dynamically this parameter is populated with values? What if this parameter is dynamically populated? Before discussing that, somebody is asking, can we put all of select all option? Yes, we can very much do that. We will say allow multiple values. Okay, we'll check this. Allow multiple values. Bikes is by default selected, right? So now you'll get select all option and you can select all everything. So maybe I want to see only accessories and clothing. I'll click report. What will happen? It has thrown error. Can anybody tell me what happened here? Is this SSRS issue or query issue? I've selected two values, right? Query issue. What could be the query issue? That is correct. It is query issue. Can anybody guess what could be the query issue? You have to define a data type. Not required. Both are text. Okay. No, data type is not the issue. It's not a variable. It's parameter. So parameter is already defined. Guess more. Yeah. So Subramani is correct. Balani Babu Subramani is correct. So we have to use in clause. Remember, when you have multiple values in your SQL query, you have a limitation with SQL query. Your equal to will not support if you are supplying multiple values. So you have to change this to in clause. If you put in clause, then you are in SafeNet. It will support single value. It will support multiple values. So now you will not run into that issue. So you only see accessories and clothing data. Accessories and clothing. I'm making another copy of this report. Now here we have two limitations. One is we have to manually provide these values. I don't want that. Okay. And second thing is this is too broader a category. Okay. This is a broad category. Within category we have subcategories also. See, category filtering will not be effective because there are only three categories but 60,000 records. Okay. What if I select category in my parameter and then all the subcategories for that category show up so that I choose a particular subcategory, then the actual products come up. That would be nice, right? So what I will do, what I want is, I want a cascading parameter. What I'm looking for a cascading parameter. But this cascading parameter, I will not manually give values. I will allow this to fetch values from query. Here, I will write one more, I'll create one more data set. What this will do is, it will select from sales. And this one I'll call parameter. So this is a data set connected to parameter. This I will connect to parameter. So I will name it as param. subcategory. I'll go back here to parameter list, create a new parameter. And here available values, instead of specifying them manually, I will choose this option, get from query, product subcategory. Okay. So what will happen now? You will have a list of subcategories which are automatically populated. Okay, we haven't manually fed these values. We haven't manually fed these values. These values are coming from this query. Okay, so we have solved the first problem. Instead of providing values manually, now we are getting values from a query. Okay, so any new value adds up in the database will automatically reflect in our parameters. So we don't need to worry in keeping this thing updated. Okay, so query will take care of that. So now what we'll do, the second part, how do I connect these two? See what I want now. If I select bikes here, only bike subcategory should list out here. If I select accessories, only accessories should be listed here. So how do I, yeah, pay attention here. See, how is category filtering the report when I select some category? See here, but if I select bikes, only bike records are coming on the report. How is that happening? Because this category is connected to the main data set, right? Main data set. Now what I will do, instead of connecting it to the main data set, this category, I will connect this to subcategory data set. The data set which is getting subcategories. Here I will write. Here I will do that. So copy this and put it here. Okay. So what it will do now? Anything that you select in the category will filter subcategory data set. If subcategory data set is filtered, automatically your subcategory parameter is also filtered, right? Now subcategory the main set. So here I will go and I'll say in product subcategory. Okay. Since I have in clause there, I can verify this to multiple. Save. That's all. I'm done. So here bikes are selected. So only bike related subcategories will show up here. So I select road bikes and only road bikes. No data for road bikes. Let's go in clothing. So all clothing ones will be shown here. Caps. No. Okay. What happened? Right. Here we have changed this parameter. Subcategory parameter should be applied on subcategory part. So there should be data for road bikes. See now, bikes, road bikes. This is cascading parameter. Okay. So by default, bikes are selected. When bikes are selected, here also by default, everything should get selected. If that is a requirement, what I have to do is, for subcategory parameter, default values also, I should supply the same data set. Then what happens? There in the first parameter, bikes are selected. In the second parameter, all the bike subcategories are by default selected. Maybe tomorrow I want accessories. So here all the accessories are selected. And then select, maybe I want a specific, I want to look at specifically these two. we can very specifically look at those two. Okay, so this is how you can set a auto-populated parameter and a cascading parameter. Okay, do you have any doubts here? Do you have any doubts? Okay, guys, we will do the final implementation. The final implementation. Last part of our last demonstration in our today's session. Can you please explain with date values? Yeah, sure. Okay. What we will do in this fourth report only, we will include order date. Okay, we'll take this one. Order date, and just before sales amount, I'll include that order date. So these are order dates. Now based on this, we want to apply a parameter. So these two are connected and both are direct. These two are connected. Okay. One is dependent on the other. Subcategory is dependent on category. Okay. So we can simply connect subcategory to this data set. Now I'll add one more parameter. Order date. So here actually we have to look at what are the dates we have. Okay, we can give a range of dates, start date, end date. Okay, or we can first what we'll do is we'll take one standard date. I'll just show with one standard date. Later I'll show start date and end date. Okay, so this will be of data type date time. And this, see here you can arrange these parameters. You can set which one you want to show on top. Order date will directly work on this data set. Here I'll say and order date I know that for 2007, 10, 30, I have some data. Okay, so this all data will be just for that date. But maybe this may not be the frequent requirement viewing the data for a single day. Okay, so you may want to look at a range, start date and end date. Okay, so we can set two parameters. So this parameter we will name it as start date. We create one more parameter. You can actually set default values also, default values, available values, all that you can do. through expressions or manually. Now that I have started and ended, I can go here to data set. Here I'll say order date between order start date and order end date. So you can put it in parentheses to increase the readability. Okay, so this is one filter acting on it, and this is another filter. So if you notice, there is no product category filter here because product category filter is not needed here. Product category is filtering subcategory, and subcategory will filter main data set, so that is fine. Take full preview here. So now maybe for that year 2007, I want to see entire October month. So it's 1st of October to 31st of. So this will get me entire 1 month range of data. Okay, like this you can set date parameters also. Okay, I have one more question. Let's see. Can we modify this report to use either date parameter or category and subcategory? If date is selected, then other parameters should be disabled. Yes, we can very much do that. Okay, so we are getting into advanced mode of requirements. Okay. Okay, so first what you have to do is you have to put everything that you have here in a stored procedure. Okay, you have to put everything that you have here in a stored procedure, and all these three values should be supplied as parameters to the parameters of that stored procedure. Okay, you have to set this as parameters of that stored procedure. If you do that, what will happen is in stored procedures you have a concept of null parameters. Okay, you set product category, subcategory, order date, everything as null parameters. Okay, if a value is not supplied, it will take null, but the stored procedure will still run. Okay, and come here and say product category allow null value. Okay, so if it's a multi-part, it will not allow null value. Here also you set null value. Now come here. So these two will allow null values. Okay, I don't know why this is a little off bit. Start it and end it. We'll put null value. So what happens is, by default, this will be disabled. Okay, so only your main parameters will work. If you want, you can enable them and pass values. Now, when they are disabled, when they are null, how do your dataset query know that they are null? Okay, so it becomes too complex here. Writing if null, then do this. If not null, do this. It becomes complex. So what you do? Put this select query. Put this select query. In a stored procedure. If you put in a stored procedure, then in stored procedure you have a concept of do like this. Null. You can say like this. Null means if nothing is supplied to this parameter, it will take by default null. Do this only for order date and start date. Don't do for product category, because product category null value has to be handled in a very different way. Now that we are there, let's discuss that. why it has to be differently, why it has to be in a different way. Guys, it's a very interesting thing in SSRS. See here, if I allow multiple values and I select allow null value, it will throw an error. Can anybody tell me why this error might have occurred? I will give you a hint. This error is because of SQL query. This error is not SSRS error, this is an SQL query error. Can you tell me why it is? Can any one of you tell me why this error? This is an SQL query error. Null distinct have any value, so cannot be added with other value. Null isn't a quantifiable value. Correct. These all are subjective definitions, which all are correct. The very simple reason is that see, if you allow multiple values, then you know that you have to use in clause, right? You have to use in clause, and in clause doesn't support null as a value. In clause doesn't support null as a value. So simply SSRS will restrict you choosing those two options together, because in doesn't support null. Because like Adam said, null is not a quantifiable value, or like Mano said, it cannot consider this as any other regular value. Okay, null is like a black hole. Okay, be careful with it. Be very careful with it. Null values. Fine, guys. So now we will do a very important demonstration. I will show you a very important assignment. We'll take this code report. We'll call this as child. You will know why very shortly why I'm calling this as child. Okay, come back here. Remove this start date and end. Just category and subcategory. No need of multiple values, and no default values or available values. Just a simple parameter. So this data set is also not needed. The main data set, remove all this. Okay, keep these filters. So we'll add two more filters. Okay, total 4 parameters. Totally 4 parameters. Now these 4 parameters, there are no available values, no default values, no multi-values, no cascading values, nothing. And these 4 parameters, I will set them as internal or hidden, because hidden. So nothing will show up. This child report, I'll keep it here. I'll go back to one of our matrix reports. Here, the final report. Let's take version 2. Okay, in version 2, we take this version 2 and we'll make a copy of it. In this, I only want amount, so standard cost column I will remove. Okay, and this one I will name it as product location sales parent. So this is a report. Now what I want, if I click on any of the cell, say for example, if I click on this particular cell, okay, this particular cell, then all the transactions belong to this cell should show up. All the transactions belong to this cell means all the transactions which happened in Germany, Europe, Germany, for the product category accessories and subcategory fenders. That's what I want. So this column headers and row headers filter should be auto applied. If I click on this cell, so that action is called drill through. Okay, that action is called drill through. So we will be designing now drill through. See how we design drill through. Watch carefully. So on this cell where I am intending to click and expecting action for that click. So here I'll go to text box properties, and in this text box properties I have something called action. For this action I will set it to go to a report. That report will be the child report. You already know this child report has 4 parameters. So add those 4 parameters. What are those 4 parameters? Product category, product subcategory, product group, and country. These are the 4 parameters you have in that child report. Now for these 4 parameters, we will supply values from this parent report. The right side, we will set a value. For category, we will supply category. For sub, group, sales territory group. Country, sales territory country. That's all. So now see what happens. If I click now on this number, okay, or on this number, right? On this number, Europe, Germany, vendors, accessories. Click this. So that child report will take all these filters, parameter values, and you will see. Okay, sorry, I missed out one thing completely. Sorry, my mistake. Go to child report. Here we have set parameters, but we haven't connected those parameters to the data set. So now, if I select on that particular cell, I should see only those Germany records for vendors. All your data will be Germany, and product will be just this. Okay, product will be just that. Take a least sale value from this one, United Kingdom, and socks. So you have to click here back button so that you can back to parent report. You go back to parent report. You click this United Kingdom. Yeah, we can see this once you deploy it, you get. So let's deploy this entire project. All the reports we developed so far. No, Mohan, from 2012, SQL Server 2012 onwards.
Okay.
Yes. Surprising. The portal is up. It's slow. It's just slow. Okay. It's working. Yeah. How are we going to deploy? Okay. Deployment is successful. We refresh. Training project. Oh, it's still deploying. Sorry. See, what is this? What is this SSRS report? RDL, report definition language. It's simply XML. You can view the code here. Okay, it's a simple XML file. Okay, so this XML file, as part of this deployment process, this XML file will be uploaded to your report server. Okay, now here you can click on this parent report, and if you give access to this parent report, it's enough. So somebody who's viewing this product location sales, right, he can very much experience the drill through action, the drill through implementation future. United Kingdom cleaners. Just United Kingdom and cleaners. That's all. You'll not find anything else. A two-page report full of cleaners from United Kingdom. Oh, where is the back button? There should be back button here. Okay, you can click the browser back button. So you get back to your parent report. Canada is purchasing a lot of cleaners. Next, United States. Next, follow. Okay, the least cleaners sales are in Europe. Actually, the overall sales also less in Europe. Okay, so that's how we work with this flat reports, table reports, whether it is table or matrix. Okay, so you can set parameters, drill downs, drill throughs, grouping, and custom expressions.
Okay guys, we've come to the end of this session. I hope this session on MSBI was informative for you. If you have any doubts, feel free to comment about it below. Thank you.